What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode with all of us. Hope you guys are doing well and Happy New Year. How are you guys doing? Happy New Year to you guys on the call. What's going
Yeah,
on?
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
All right,
Happy
cool.
New Year, man.
So,
Good. Happy
why
New
don't,
Year, guys.
why don't we start off with some technical analysis? I see we had some price action in the charts, especially with Bitcoin. Well, really with all the altcoins as well over the past 48 hours. So, Chris, do you want to show us what's going on the charts with Bitcoin and maybe some of the large cap coins and kind of give us a forecast on what we should potentially expect in the coming days?
Yeah, sure. Let me share my
Go
screen.
for it.
All right. Cool, man. So this is as always, starting Bitcoin on the daily. We're seeing some moves here. The only thing that kind of worries me is volume at the moment. Like this inverse head and shoulders pattern that is, potentially playing out. We saw this happening here in June, July. And in June, July, it was clean, like the neckline was perfect. It was, both of those peaks were right on the neckline, and, volume pretty much preceded this and blasted right through it. So that's kind of what I was expecting, today, yesterday for this to happen, just volume to start showing up and then blasting right through it. So currently, if you compare that one to this one, it's not as clean as, I'd like to see this little, ascending triangle here. What I'm thinking this could be is, accumulation right before volume picks up. But, as I see it right this second, it's just really much waiting for volume to pick up. And here on the daily, we have that two sequential above the green two above the green one. So it's not bad. If I zoom in a little bit, 4-hour time frame, you have these exponential moving averages holding the price. This right here is pretty healthy, pretty healthy consolidation after a move up like this. This could be, a bull flag as long as we hold these EMAs. I like that we're holding 4,000 psychological. So I think that's, if we keep that up and we don't break 4,000, and again, volume picks up, we can see another leg up. RSI is cooling down a little bit, which is what we want to see. Let's do the 1 hour. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty healthy. I just don't want to see this move, give too much back. So let's do a quick fib. We'll do it. Usually, like in terms of probability, if we give this back, if we go back down to like 50% or 618% level, the probability of us doing another leg up, kind of diminishes. We want to hold, 236, 382 in order for us to see another leg up in terms of probability. So yeah, I mean, price action's there. It's looking good. I definitely want to see, a solid move up to, sorry about that, guys. We want to see a move up through this neckline and then potentially, retest it and then another leg up, hopefully to the target range of 5650, 5800, which coincides to the support that we've seen for the past few months. But yeah, that's in terms of Bitcoin, that's all I have for that. Do you guys want to look at Ethereum?
I have a question. When you said there could be a leg up, like what's the time frame you're looking at, like within the next 7 days? 2 weeks? Based on what I've seen with your cursor, it looks like it'll be sometime in January.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're setting this up again, potential inverse head and shoulders. When this happens, it's a reversal pattern, and usually it just happens, quickly, and it happens within a few hour time span. So basically what we see right here, this move up, this was a 4-day move up. Basically, we'd want to see like half of this move in one candle is what we would like to see. So
Got it.
assuming this here, I mean, assuming this is, a little bit of accumulation, then yeah, as soon as volume kicks in, and you'd notice that in smaller time frames, 3-5 minute time frames, when you just see a huge spike in volume,
Right.
and then we can run through. But yeah, I mean, it's not the cleanest inverse head and shoulders that I've seen before. Usually it's pretty smooth, and then the break it just happens quickly. So as long as we don't give this move back, then I think we're still on route to that inverse head and shoulders breakout that pretty much everyone's looking forward to. So yeah.
Interesting.
Any other questions with Bitcoin that you guys want to talk about?
Guess not. All right, let's move on to Ethereum.
All right. Yeah, Ethereum's been moving. Ethereum was leading this move, if I'm not mistaken. It was leading this move, and I mean, this is pretty much a 100% move.
Yeah.
90% move, something like that. The fact that it's been running this much, and it makes me think that we're pretty extended. But in here we're on a 9 of 9 in the sequential. So depending on what Bitcoin does, I mean, I don't know if Ethereum has a little more legs. Again, it could, just because Bitcoin would lead, but it's been pretty extended, as you guys can see. We have this EMA bull cross, which is good. RSI is cooling down. 61 MACD is decent. Let's do what I like is that this I think it's a 12 period moving average here is holding this 236 fib extension. So, and then this one down here is also holding the 382, which are critical fib levels when it comes to like holding the trend. So if we can just hold these two and hold this this higher low, then I think we'd be pretty set. But the sequential is telling me that it's pretty much done with its sequence, so we could see a correction.
Right.
I guess at this point we just have to see what Bitcoin does, and if we can blast through that inverse head and shoulders with Bitcoin, then a lot of these are going to run, even though these are extended. Like, this isn't, I mean, it's the cryptocurrency markets. We've seen crazy, insane moves, and RSI and MACD, don't really help. You can, like, all of 2017, it was pretty much overbought, but no one cared.
Do you mind if we look at Litecoin? Because that has had a pretty decent run up lately.
Moving, man.
What's that?
The Litecoin inverse head and shoulders actually played out. Like,
it did.
Blasted through.
It did, actually. That's pretty awesome. So this was the neckline right here at 35.95.
Yeah.
And yeah, look at that. You see this little, it's almost similar to Bitcoin, where it wasn't as clean as this. It was like, a little bit of accumulation here. And then this is exactly what we want to see with Bitcoin. And the fact that Litecoin did it, I think boosts the probability that Bitcoin's going to follow in this case, which is weird to say that Litecoin is leading, but and look at this volume right here. This is super nice. If you look, I mean, it's almost maybe triple the volume of the previous couple of days.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah, at least twice for sure. So here, I think we would see a retest of the neckline. If ideally we hold a little bit higher, maybe 37.42 around there, and then see another leg up. But again, volume will tell us everything here. This is nice though. I definitely want to see this for Bitcoin, because when this happens, we're going to see a lot of these coins run. And again, it comes to perspective too, because like if you're trading, you want to look at coins that have more potential in terms of, percentages. So, I mean, if Bitcoin can do 15, 20%, then Litecoin, Ethereum could probably do more. So, or Ripple for that matter. So
Right.
this is cool. I like this, the EMA bull cross here. Ideally, we want to see a retest of that neckline, and then, I mean, if that would be a good entry for me. I would try to buy the retest of that with a tight stop and see some follow through, ideally.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Can we look at Ripple?
Yeah.
If you don't mind. Thanks.
Okay, this is Ripple on the daily. We're seeing here let's see. We're sort of in a range right now. So this is the top. So the high, low, lower, high, higher, low. And I think we're just pretty much stuck in this range. The problem is, in terms of percentages, the percent to even reach this top is like 23%, as opposed to 10% for the bottom. So I would think that we'd have to see, again, going back to Bitcoin leading these coins, we would want to see what it does, and that should kind of reflect on this coin. So, I mean, let me zoom in here a little bit. Yeah, we're stuck on this range, as you guys can see. And then volume's kind of weird. It like peaks and then just kind of falls back down, then peaks again. It's interesting. This can be an accumulation phase of just back and forth, and then we can see a breakout. I mean, with the sequential here, it's kind of floppy here. It's like we have price flips every 2, 3, 4 candles, which isn't helping at all.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I like to look at, larger time frames to get a bit better picture of what's going on. And yeah, we're in this range currently. And volume is, it's kind of not apparent. It's been dropping. So usually that happens in tight ranges. So that's it. Any other coins you guys want to look at, or should we get on to the convo?
Let's if we could take a look at the stock market. So much money came out, and
Yeah.
and been getting a lot of questions about it too. Like Apple's valuation, their total capitalization dropped by the whole value of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
One day.
Let's take a look. We'll look at a weekly on
Hard dump.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's crazy, dude. Wow. So look, this is
That was on the 3rd, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Wow. Yeah.
I think, yeah, we pretty much broke the support level here, and it looks like we're coming to retest. I mean, we bounced back from it. We closed the candle, or should close the candle above it. And then let's see how much follow through we can see. Volume is decreasing though in the past 2 days, which isn't so good. But yeah, that's crazy, man. That's not looking so good.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? You think it's gonna correlate to Bitcoin or inverse correlation or no correlation at all?
Well, I think during this drop down in these past couple of days, we were seeing an inverse correlation, because I think we were running like with Bitcoin, we were running while, you know, S&P was down, everything was falling. So, but I would call that like a short term inverse correlation. You know, I don't know. I'd want to see like I mean, I wouldn't want to see if the market fell, but I would want to see how that would play out if we saw, you know, another leg down on SPY, for example. It would be interesting to see how money would move between markets. What do you guys think?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a correlation.
No, not yet anyways. But it did play out perfectly on the day it fell and Bitcoin pushed above 4K.
Yeah. That's why I don't know if I'd call it a correlation or an inverse correlation at all, but it could have just been coincidence. Who knows? But it was nice. I mean, for the Bitcoin crypto markets, it was good. Yeah, guys. Anything else?
No?
I guess we should move on to conversation.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Chatting. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
So much for
No
doing the
worries.
charts. So yeah, what's going on? What's going on in the crypto market? There's what was that exchange that
Seems like a good segue into what is it? The DX exchange?
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Securities.
Can we just talk? Can we talk about the coin floor exchange before we get into that? You guys know?
Is that the one in London?
Okay, so my cousin messaged me last night. He lives in London, and he's like, "Yo, look at the price of Bitcoin on CoinFloor. It's $2,600." So I'm like, I don't know. I've never even heard of CoinFloor. So I look it up. It's like one of England's oldest exchanges. Very low volume. I don't think many people are using it. But if you go onto CoinMarketCap, go to that exchange, there's 3 trading pairs. There's Bitcoin, Great British Pound, which is trading at the regular price, Bitcoin Euro, which is trading at the regular price, and then Bitcoin USD has a question mark next to it, which means it's not trading yet, but it's going to be trading. And the price is $2,670. So I was like, that's weird. And then today I see this article that they're launching a Bitcoin futures exchange, I think in February. And it was just funny because like I'd never heard of this exchange until last night, and then I see the article today saying that they're launching they're basically a competitor to Backed, so they're going to have physically backed Bitcoin futures. But I just thought it was really weird that they have the price of the BTC USD pair at $2,670. Is that foreshadowing something? I don't know.
Is that USD, Pete, or was that
USD.
pound?
USD.
That was USD.
If you go to CoinMarketCap right now, it's still there. It shows as 2,600.
But you can't buy it at You can't buy it at that price.
No, it's not trading yet, but it's given a predicted trading price of $2,670.
I think they're just doing it so that it's a marketing play. People are like, "What the hell's going on that exchange?" And they're opening it up, and they're seeing that they
They're
can't buy
carrying all these USD deposits.
it. Right.
That's true. Bait and switch.
Oh, it's weird, man. But yeah, they're doing they're competing with Backed. So there's going to be 2 physically backed Bitcoin futures exchanges in the market.
That's when are they supposed to release?
News, I think.
When are they going to come out with it? You know, did it say?
I think February. I'm not 100% sure.
That's not too far away.
Guess who one of the owners is? It's Roger Ver.
Of course.
One of the partners in the exchange, which I thought was interesting.
Not surprised.
What do you guys think about
that? I don't know.
Well, when Nabil said last time,
so it's not just going to be Bitcoin; it's going to be Ethereum futures and Bitcoin Cash futures. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin Cash, physically backed futures apparently.
Well, of course, Bitcoin Cash is going to be on there. Fucking Roger Ver's,
Right.
part owner in it. But what Nabil said last time about they have to actually buy the Bitcoin.
Yeah.
If they're going to do it, then I guess that's good for the market if they're actually doing that and it's not like synthetic, bullshit. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure more will pop up too. Probably in other countries offering multiple coin futures. So I don't know, man. 2019 is going to be really interesting. It just seems like at the beginning of 2017, like it was pretty clear where this thing was headed. I think that's why a lot of us got in and started investing. And in 2018, we totally got hit in the face. In 2019, it just seems like it's very, I don't know. What do you guys think? I keep hearing all these different, I don't like to follow a lot of people on YouTube because I think it's just,
I think everyone's full of shit.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are full of shit.
You know what it is? It's just whether they're an expert or a trader, they're still speculating. I don't care what they like.
No,
Nobody knows where the bottom is. You can read every chart you want and probably have an educated guess, but a lot of these people, they're speculating, these experts and traders, and so I just take everything with a pinch of salt. I don't think anyone knows.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's just, when you hear these news of these financial institutions offering a new on-ramp or exposure for people to get exposure to Bitcoin and through futures, backed, etc., TD Ameritrade, and these different products that are coming to the market, you can't help but feel that eventually it could be, I don't know when, plus the halving is coming up. We talked about this many times. In May of 2020, which is a year and a half from now, you can't help but think that, man, this thing has got to turn around eventually being hopefully in the next like 6 to 8 months.
Definitely.
But it's like, I don't know. So I want to get, what are your guys' thoughts? I mean, I'm more negative. Like, I'm like, maybe it's not going to turn around. I'm sure we'll see some uptrend, but I don't think we're going to see a quote unquote bull run anytime soon. But maybe that
kind of looks like we've found the bottom so far, and then maybe we'll just have a slow inch up from here.
You don't think it'll go lower?
I don't know. I had been predicting that it will go lower into the 2K range, but we haven't seen it.
Yeah. But we could see it though in a few months.
Oh, we definitely could, yeah.
Yeah. But then it's like all these, again, Bakkt is launching they pushed it back to sometime in Q1, I think, or Q2, if I'm not mistaken. They were supposed to launch like in a couple weeks. But the CBOE ETF's final, they can't delay this thing anymore. And the final announcement, whether they're going to pass it or not, is end of February. I think that could be a telling factor in where potentially the price could go. But I don't know. It just seems like my opinion is I think this is still a slow grind, and it's going to shake a lot of people out, and it could go lower. But this is a guess. Like, who the fuck knows? So what do you got?
The thing is, I think if the revolution is ever going to happen, it's got to be. I just saw this tweet the other day. It was like, I'm not into
pretty
it.
serious. The revolution.
Yeah,
just everyone coming at once, right?
It's dying, like, then the price is going to go up.
Yeah. Well, look, it's like if people are coming in one at a time and they're understanding the importance of what Bitcoin is, and they're understanding that they should have their own, be their own bank, have their own sovereignty, and just what's going on in France, what's going on throughout the world. It's like when people start to kind of get it, and they start to hold their Bitcoin and they start to use Bitcoin, then you're going to see a steady, gradual increase. I think what happened in 2017 was a fluke. I don't think it's going to happen again. I don't know. It might happen again, but that was pretty crazy to see what happened there. That was a really crazy, few months. But
shit, that was crazy.
They're working on it.
Yeah.
They're working on it, right? The Lightning Network is actually working now. Nodes are going out to people. People can send transactions now nearly completely offline. I mean, there's actual work that's being done for Bitcoin, and that and Bitcoin leads the market, and it's going to continue to lead the market. So I don't know. I'm optimistic about what's going to happen in the future, just because I know that there's work being done on the actual tech.
I agree with you in terms of 2017 not happening again, because it was just insane. You know, like the fact that we ran up from $900 to 20,000 is, I mean, markets don't work that way, man. I mean,
right.
it'll happen, but if like it has to fall, you know, it has to fall now. Now, if we're able to, if the kind of the stars align and we have some catalyst news, it's not going to, you know, jump us back to where we were. You know, it's going to blast through momentum, where in terms of a weekly chart, we will see, you know, a shift in trend. So it'll blast through, and then we'll make, you know, a higher low, and then keep a continuation. So if you look at a weekly chart, we're still bearish, like perspective, you know, we're still bearish.
Very bearish.
Yeah.
Obviously, in terms of trading opportunity, there are opportunities, but in terms of the market as a whole and the sentiment and all that, I think that, yeah, it's going to take time. I would hate to see another 2017, and it's like a torn situation, because obviously the opportunity to make a lot of money would be there, but it would just be a replica of 2017. If it shot up, it'll come back down just as hard. So a slow, gradual way up, I think, would be healthy for the market as a whole.
I agree. I think we would need a catalyst to see some big move up over a period of months, like we saw in 2017. And the only catalyst I could think of is like a dollar crisis, and I don't think that's happening anytime soon. But I'm not an economist. I'm not in the market. So what do you guys think, especially with Chris and Nabil, since you guys are traders and you've studied economics?
I mean, for Bitcoin itself, I think it's going to keep leading the market. But there's one thing I liked a lot that happened recently. As you mentioned, BACT was delayed. And there's too much people saying that we're going to go lower now. So I like to look at all angles. So I started looking at why this might have been the bottom. And there are a few reasons of confluence, a reason that might indicate this was the bottom. First off, the market sentiment is not extremely high. So we're all crypto people. We like crypto. But for most investors that have a lot of money, a lot of people were expecting for us to hit a bottom to be like this, like a boom, like a quick push back up in the charts. But since the market sentiment isn't that good, a slow grind, like Chris said, might be something that occurs, because the charts are basically telling you a story. So if the fact that we just like bottomed out slowly, it kept going back up, that might happen. Also on the reasoning of that, the next surge might be led by altcoins. And a lot of these top altcoins like Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin too, they had the like 90% drop, which is huge. So if someone really wants to wait for a huge correction and go into those, I mean, 90% is not bad, you know, like, so that's a patient move for once. And like you mentioned again, BACT was delayed, but it didn't cause such a big drop.
Right.
So fundamentally, whenever you see like bad news and the market doesn't crash that much, that's okay. You see some signs of like holding there and strength there.
Right.
So I was thinking of like some few reasons that might indicate that this might have been the bottom, and those are it. Again, price wise, I still want to see like the long weekly wedge being broken to the upside, or at least fail to keep testing lowers. So I want to see some indications technically, but I mean there is a small case for 3,180, I think, on Bitstamp being the low.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's a good point, because we already saw Ether hit into the 80s and now it's doubled already. So for it to move back down would be pretty much unheard of, for it to double and then move back down in a bear market, right?
Yeah. And I think Ether went down like 90%, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think the peak was 1250 or something.
Yeah.
I'll check. I have a chart right here. I think
it was 1,400 from what I remember.
Yeah. think so too.
Wow,
It was
really?
1,400, dropped all the way to
The thing
80.
is, if you got in at $80, you're in a mini bull run by yourself. You're just you're laughing right now. You just doubled your money.
Yeah. Be nice to get it at $80 again.
Now,
What do you guys think about this fork, the Ethereum fork that's coming up, the contentious fork on the 16th? What do you think that's going to do
Seems like that's what's causing the run up, right?
Right. So do you think it's going to be like a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing?
Hopefully not. Hopefully not, because before these hard forks would basically give you some free coins, some free tokens, so a lot of money would move towards there, and dump like right before the news come out, or a few days later, as soon as you have the screenshot for the additional free coins. But this is not a hard fork where they distribute any type of free tokens or coins. So this might be some people positioning themselves for like a bull run or something. And I just checked on Bitfinex, the drop was 94% for Ethereum.
Wow.
From the top to the highest, 94%. So that's a lot. And I know we discussed a lot about Bitcoin, which is amazing and great, but the potential of Ethereum in my mind is crazy. We've seen with these stocks being tokenized.
Right.
I mean, ownership law. I can't think of an industry that's not going to be affected by the blockchain. And that's mostly towards Ethereum because for now it's still the best platform to work on a new blockchain. So if you understand the blockchain really, and you look at the number one coin that represents this tokenized economy, which is Ethereum, you're like, okay, it dropped 94%. That's not bad to get in.
Yeah. For sure. It's $140 right now.
Yeah. Just to take this, sorry to take this conversation just a little off road here, but I've just been seeing so many good news come out about Tron, and so many people like completely flipping what they've been saying for like months about Tron. What do you guys think? Do you guys have any opinion about Tron? What do you guys think of that? Of Justin and his gang of announcement for an announcement type of guy, you know? What do you guys think of that?
I haven't really paid attention to Tron, so I can't really give an opinion.
No?
Yeah, I'm not touching that one.
Yeah.
No. Everyone's leaving this one empty. All right.
I might have a few words on Tron. Not too much. I won't go too deep on it, but
All right, go ahead.
For whoever says Tron is a scam, be careful. The person behind Tron, Justin Sun, he's in Forbes 30 under 30. Like, it's not worth it for him to destroy his image at the point where, I mean, and if people say this guy goes a little overboard with manipulative marketing, I agree, but so does Ripple.
Of course.
So does like the CEO for Coinbase. I mean, that's not bad exposure. At the end of the day, it's still exposure. So I understand where people come from and they like point the finger at Justin Sun for being a little manipulative. But I mean, look at Brad Garlinghouse, and he's still making all these partnerships and this and that. So some of the reasons are flawed to point the finger towards Tron. I haven't looked deep enough to give you guys exactly my opinion on it, but I mean, there are some knocks on it that are not that shouldn't be there. So those are the two ones.
People like to generalize, right? Like they're just going to say, oh, I don't like it. It's a scam, you know, but isn't their blockchain live now?
I think there is. Yeah, they have.
And I think they're faster than Ethereum now.
So that's proof.
Don't quote me on it, but
it's not a scam. Their blockchain is live. They have a workable product, right?
Yes.
I mean, I've never heard anyone say it's a scam. I just hear people saying it's like a shit coin or whatever. I've never heard someone say it's a scam.
Yeah, well, I've read the exit scam, exit coin, this and that. But I mean, again, Justin Sun is 30 under 30 in Forbes, and he's a billionaire already. So, I mean, come on. Also, I mean, there is comparison to that's from Tron and their head of board. They like to compare themselves to Ethereum. I don't really believe that. That's like kind of like going to the yard and trying to challenge the biggest guy out there. So
well, he does do that. He does do that on Twitter.
They're just catching that star power, right? They're just trying to position themselves with Ethereum.
Yeah.
Well, everyone is comparing themselves to Ethereum, right? Because most of the guys that came out are like a fork of Ethereum, right? Like, if I'm not mistaken, this is what I've heard from people that actually understand like coding and stuff. They're like, most of these guys, like a VeChain, for example, it's great and everything, but it's basically a fork of Ethereum. So they forked it, they put their own brand on it, and then they went with it. But Tron is not like that. I think Tron's already faster than them. And if you guys remember, before all of this bear market started, everyone was talking about scalability as the number one issue. And I don't know if Tron has solved that. I haven't looked into it yet. That's why I was asking you guys, but I think it's interesting.
Well, no one's really solved it yet.
No
But
one.
This is why even Ethereum's doing a hard fork. So everything is still theory. Yeah, this Justin Sun guy. I mean, hey man, look, I get people want to rail on him for over promotion, but sometimes you got to do something to get your project's name out there. So so for him to go back and forth with Vitalik, it's smart. It's exposure.
He knows marketing really well.
Yeah.
He understands marketing. He understands kind of mass opinions. So the fact that we're even having this conversation, whatever he's doing is working, right?
Right.
Good point.
Exactly. The only thing I would say, I haven't checked their website. So on our YouTube channel, we used to do these coin videos. We haven't done it lately because I don't know. There's just no interest. So we did one on Tron, and I remember the research we did. I mean, there's not much research, but if you go on the website, like there's no mention of any team members. It's just pictures of all their developers together taking a team photo in front of the Golden Gate Bridge because they're based in San Francisco here. I think they have an office here and in Hong Kong, if I'm not mistaken. But there was nothing on their website about any advisors, any team developers. It was just Justin Sun, and that's it. So, some may say, well, that's not a topic. That's no big deal. But I think that is important. I think, if you want people to invest in your project and to buy your coin and to use your product, we need to know who's behind the project, who's building on top of this thing. I understand it's open source and it's on GitHub and so on, but there's still a founding team of developers to get this thing off the ground. But there's no mention of anyone. It's just a picture of, so things like this, you know what I mean? Like when I look at things like this, I'm like, I don't know if I'd touch that coin, I'd like to see more transparency, if that makes sense. But on the flip side, I give the guy props. At least he creates, controversial tweets, totally promotes like a fucking MLM or something, and the shit works, And
he knows that now is the time, the make or break for a lot of these alternate blockchains, right? It's bear market. Exactly. Like a lot of these coins are just going to die, and they got to stay relevant somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we're knocking a creator for not being visible, then we don't know who Satoshi is either. So maybe he just wanted to kind of go down that route.
Yeah, but see, that's different, man. They have a huge developer community. We kind of have an idea of who these.
It didn't start that way, though.
Yeah, but they were the first. They were the first blockchain, essentially, right? So
yeah, they were.
A lot of these others are not. They're showing up like 5, 6, 7 years later. When the market is a lot more aware and educated. Well, it's really not, but a lot more than it was 2010 and 11. I mean, we are. But who the hell here knew about blockchain in 2013? I could never explain it back then, right? So it's different.
I can barely explain it now.
Yeah, so it's it's a different time. So with that being said, there needs to be a bit more transparency. Like if you wanted to replicate Bitcoin's rise to becoming a mainstream cryptocurrency, I don't think it's possible. So
yeah, I'd agree with that. That's true.
So it's got to be a different. There's got to be more transparency. This is just my opinion. There's just got to be more transparent. And on the flip side, people will say, well, that's why Bitcoin will work. Oh, that's why Bitcoin's only decentralized one, because it's not tied to one central figure, whereas all these other coins are. Like, let's say Justin Sun got hit by a bus. What would happen to Tron? You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
So if he got hit by a bus, would you be confident in Tron going forward? Maybe. So a lot of people may not, though.
How much trust do you have in the developers that you don't know?
Right, exactly. So when there's a central figure tied to a coin, that is a potential problem.
That should be the threshold, man. Like if this person got hit by a bus, would you believe in the project? And if you can't say yes, then it's just labeled scam.
What do you guys think about?
And I'm not saying yes or no. I'm just saying, how would the market react? We don't know. But I think there's a high probability that there would be some reaction to that coin, meaning like people may not.
100% they will. Same with Ethereum, right? The same thing.
Right. So when these projects are tied to a central figure, that that messes with the equation of that project hopefully being decentralized, and I'm just talking about on a sentiment level. In terms of the tech, I'm not going to go there because I don't really know enough about, like, let's say Tron, for example, but I think there's a high probability that thing is super centralized, but that's just my theory. I haven't looked into it. I haven't studied it. I could care less for that coin, but that's something like you got to think about when you're investing in these coins, like
Would you say you're a Bitcoin maximalist?
No, I don't know, man. I wouldn't really say that because I think people need to try things out. I think humanity needs to try things out and fail, and that's how we build better products, right? So I don't really look. I believe Bitcoin should be at the top of the mountain, at the top of the pyramid in terms of cryptocurrencies for the next 100 years, but because it's, as far as we've seen so far, it's the only decentralized cryptocurrency. But with that being said, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try other things, right? So there's a reason why there's a huge developer community behind Ethereum. And I think Ethereum is building something that is going to be adopted by industries in the coming years. And we could be totally wrong. It could be another smart contract blockchain because Ethereum may not ever scale. Who knows? But I don't believe in I don't believe in the notion that everything else is a scam and they're all shit coins and Bitcoin is the only one. When it comes to store of value, sure. But when it comes to disrupting industries and putting a lot of, some of these industries that should be on the blockchain, I'm not saying every industry should, then we need to try things out. We need to launch new projects and we need to, try to crack the code on this thing and break things and build new products from our trial and error phase. And that's how I see a lot of these altcoins. They're more trial and error in terms of value investing. I don't know if it's a good idea, to be honest, outside of like Bitcoin.
You pretty much know it's not a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, outside of Bitcoin and I would say Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum.
I think there's some hidden gems, man. There's some really low cap altcoins that I think as a financial move, you would make so much more money than Bitcoin on. So like, I believe like in the short term, trading the alts for like the next upcoming years will be way more profitable than trading Bitcoin or holding Bitcoin.
Well, that's why everyone got into ICOs.
Right.
Because it was low cap.
We're talking about ICOs, like actually established companies that will pump crazy percentages. Maybe their technology gets adopted, maybe it doesn't. But I think they call them the Bitcoin extremists now. They're not maximalists anymore. They're extremists. Those guys that are like telling you don't trade alts, don't buy alts. They're going to zero. Like you're actually hurting people by telling people that. You're preventing people from making money just because you don't believe in it. Like you have so much brand loyalty to Bitcoin that everything else is a shit coin. I think that's like too much, man. Like I think we're going to see the altcoins around for a while. They might not have massive valuations and like the market caps are going to be a lot lower than what they are now, maybe. But I don't think they're going anywhere for a while.
They're probably not traders. That's why, man. Like, honestly, if there's volume and volatility and like, if it's peanuts, I don't care. It's like
some of them are like Tone Vase is an example. He's a really good trader. I respect him as a trader. Like, I love watching his shit. But he's telling people that Ethereum's going to go back to the ICO price, and the bear market's not over until Ethereum is dead. Like you're a guy that has hundreds of thousands of views, millions of views on YouTube. You shouldn't be telling people that shit, even if that's your own beliefs. Like, it's not realistic, is it?
It's like that guy from InfoWars. You know what I mean? Like those same people are going to be saying the same shit, even when it's proven that they're not right. Like, just like there's people who believe that the earth is flat still. I mean, that's totally
Yeah.
ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
But there's people who still believe that, and they're gonna, the extremists. Like, I think there is a difference between a maximalist and an extremist, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's tribalism to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So, Andreas Antonopoulos did a video recently, I think in the past few months, and they were talking about altcoins. And I may be butchering this, so forgive me, but I recommend people to go watch it. Something about altcoins, Andreas Antonopoulos, in the past 3 to 6 months. I'd look on YouTube. It could be more recent. And he talked about why altcoins, from what I got from him, why altcoins will be around, because it's somewhat of a way of people expressing their core values, right? So some of these altcoins may be more aligned with someone's core values, well, whatever that means. But I could see that. And that to me is why, like, there's so much energy behind Ethereum. There's so many people building. There's so many PhDs and developers building on Ethereum. I just don't see how that thing could ever go to zero. There's so much human capital behind some of these altcoins, especially Ethereum and Ripple. Even though people say, it's a shit coin and the tech sucks and it can totally be sent. Well, listen, dude, there's like tens of thousands of people behind this thing, and they don't give a fuck about your opinion. They don't even care if the fucking shit, the tech is got some discrepancies, whatever. They believe in it. That's it. And because there's enough human capital and energy behind it, I think there's a high probability that this thing's going to be around and evolve, and probably the tech will evolve and get better. There's a high probability that may happen. So I agree with you is what I'm saying, Pete. Like, I don't buy into the notion that, the market will hit the bottom when Ethereum hits zero and Ripple's fucking done. And, well, I'm sorry, dude. I don't think that's going to happen. There's just too much human capital behind these projects. So, anyhow, that's my 2 cents. Were you guys going to say something? I heard somebody was about to.
That was my dog, man. My bad.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I just don't see, I agree. Like, most of these altcoins aren't going to go anywhere. Like, you can look at CoinMarketCap from 2014 or 13, and you see these coins like Namecoin or whatever the hell was there back then. And they're still on CoinMarketCap, but their price hasn't gone anywhere. So I think you will see a lot of that with a lot of these coins in the top 100. But I still think there's going to be some projects going to be around. But
there's hordes of ICO tokens that are still locked up for very viable projects, that could come and make noise. And they're smart for holding their tokens. And if you hop in their Telegram groups, you see all these people who are, giving them tons of shit for locking up the tokens and whatever. But all those people have, 3 figures, maybe 4 figures max.
Right.
So they don't realize that it will cost the real investors a ton of money to release their tokens in this market. And when we see like a little bit of rally, I think we're going to see some really obscure tokens, that we remember they're ICOs, but they're just going to come out of nowhere, and the cream of the crop, the real companies, are going to rise to the top here, and a lot of these top 100 coins are going to be gone.
Yeah, like Hashgraph, for example. Not saying they will, right. I don't know, but I think they could be a candidate. I mean, they got a very interesting project with their gossip protocol, right? If you understand how their consensus mechanism works, well, that's pretty interesting. Albeit their technology is patented, which kind of is an antithesis of cryptocurrency or Bitcoin. But hey, man, this is business. I get it. They don't want developers going off and forking off their project, and but that could be one, right? So, and apparently from what I'm hearing, they're getting a lot of traction. I wouldn't say in the crypto community, but just in the business world. Like, companies are interested in adopting or building on top of their protocol. So we don't hear about Hashgraph. We heard about it last year because of their private ICO, and they did this big event in New York. But that's just an example, in my opinion, of one that is a candidate for, what Dan was talking about. Like, we could see a coin like that just rise in the coming years. And I think their tokens are locked for like several years, like 3 to 5 years or something like that, which makes sense. Cause then you don't want these 3-figure, 4-figure investors, which I doubt any of those got in anyways, but you don't want people dumping the coins on the market and just totally crash into price. Like there has to be some type of lockup period to protect the value of that coin. So, and
that was a really good example, Hashgraph, actually.
Yeah. So not saying they will.
The
I have
only
no
thing
idea.
that was different is they were transparent with all their investors that they knew about the lockup period, whereas like a lot of
Right.
companies, they're just now realizing, okay, you know, we made out good, we cashed out our ETH, we can handle our burn rate for the actual company and development. But the investors didn't know that their tokens were going to be locked up for a year or 2 years, you know? So that now they're dealing with these just rabid communities of people who are kind of mad. But the people who put in the lion's share of the investments of the ETH that went into the ICO, they know what's happening. They know their tokens are going to be safe, and they know that it's a real company and they're developing the product.
Right. Yep. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think the altcoins, some of the altcoins are going to be around, and I think there's going to be new altcoins that are going to be popping up in the coming years that are going to solve and really deliver that a lot of these ICOs said they were going to deliver from 2017 are not delivering. I think we're going to see new coins. I think there will always be an altcoin market, and there has to be. Like that's there has to be because we have to develop, we have to build shit, we have to. You know, Facebook came out after MySpace. I don't like to use that analogy often, and I'm not correlating or comparing Bitcoin to MySpace. But what I'm saying is that we have to continue building better products. You know, who knows? Like 10 years from now, there could be a new, better way of shopping online than Amazon. I doubt it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think I read
Amazon
a tweet.
will probably just buy it.
Probably, yeah.
The technology has to develop, or else it's going to die, right?
Right, exactly. We have to progress. So I think altcoins represent us progressing in terms of building better shit. But as far as value investing, I don't know. If I was going to play the safe game, which I do, then I would be, well, I'd be in cash right now, but I would be buying, which I am, but I would be holding or investing in Bitcoin, you know, if you want to play the safe route.
I think if you want to hold something long term, like a decade, you know, you want something that you can pass on to your kids, buy yourself some Bitcoin and just chill. But
and this is not investment advice, by the way. I'm in America,
yes,
so I got
just not
so guys, don't take anything we say as investment advice. The rest of these guys are in Canada, except for me and Chris, so they can say whatever they want. But
it's not investment advice, but honestly, like to tie that in, just look at an Amazon chart like 10 years ago. Zoom out, monthly chart, look at it.
95% drop.
Yeah, if you have the patience, which
most people don't.
I mean, most people don't. Yeah. The reality is most people don't. But if like what you just mentioned, you want to buy something, value investing long term, pass it down to your kids, you know, take a look at an Amazon chart where it was to where it is now, and look at the timeline that it took to get there. And obviously it's not going to predict what's happening with Bitcoin, but it should be a decent indication of the value that it has. Sure. I mean, I'm not comparing Amazon to Bitcoin at all, but it's like just in terms of visual perspective.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, guys, I got to get out of here. Great chat as usual.
Yeah, this was fun.
Let's do this next week. Well, we're probably going to do this every week. And this is fun. So I have a great time talking to everyone.
Yeah, it's good.
And the audience, I'm sure you guys are having a good time. So just make sure you guys subscribe to everyone's channel and click the like button so other people can find this video as well. And go in everyone's description field and click on whatever link they're promoting, because it's probably high value to help you out. So with that being said, thanks again for joining us. And if you guys have any questions, then just leave a comment below, and we'd be more than happy to engage with you. And we all have, I'm sure, a Telegram channel, so go join it. That's it. So
thanks, guys.
Cool, guys.
See you next week.
Definitely next week. See you guys next week.